Hey everyone, and welcome back to our Behind Her Brand Monday Morning Brew. I hope that you each had an absolutely amazing weekend. I am still full from my weekend. It was my birthday weekend, and my family just outdid themselves. Um, that's not what the brew is about today, but I was just thinking here, as I got started on my Monday morning, was how blessed and grateful that I am for the intentionality of the things that my husband and my sons did. So just my cup is still overflowing, um, and just still feeling really full from this weekend. So it made me think a lot about even this morning what I wanted to share with you, and I was thinking about how you know what we're doing, all of us, each person listening here is either building something, your career, you're building your business, you're building relationships, you're building a new life, you're building new mindsets, you're building something, right? And when you're building, a lot of times that comes with so many different ups, downs, highs, lows, all the different things in between. But there's something I saw on my desk this morning, and I sent these out to quite a few women about a year ago. And this was the saying: progress, not perfection. Progress, not perfection. And it's such a powerful statement because I want to encourage you today that if you are building anything, whatever that might look like, celebrate the progress that you're making. It is not about perfection. It is not about necessarily reaching an intended destination, to be honest with you. To me, one of the biggest things that happens to you when you're building or growing is that you're cultivating new habits, new mindsets, new ways of doing things. You're even strengthening yourself. I've seen people who are reaching certain goals and it feels good to reach it, but when they reach it, they realize they're not the same person that started that goal. There's so many different things that you have done and grown through. Challenges that you had to face, obstacles you had to overcome, and victories that you had along the way that really helped you in your progress. And so often we want to wait to celebrate until we get to an end destination, but we don't celebrate the progress that we're making. We don't look at the progress and the milestones along the way. And let me say this too, even with this, when you're progressing and you're putting things in place, the reason why I love that saying is that so often, and that's what I encourage anyone today, that don't rush your progress. Don't rush your journey. Don't rush your endpoint. Don't rush to get to a certain place. Oftentimes, when we're in that process of building and growing, there are things that we need to learn. There's things that we need to go through. You never want to get to a place that you think you want to be at and be unprepared. You never want to arrive to your destination, if you will, and realize I'm not set up. My structure's not there. My mindsets are not there. There are people that I see all the time talk about, I can show you how to make six figures. I can show you how to make all these different kind of money and things of that nature. And all that may sound well and good, but here's the thing. What if you do reach the intended goal fast, or you cut corners, or you go this shortcut way, you do this, that, and the other, and you get there and you realize that your money management skills are not strengthened the way that you thought they were. You are not ready for overflow because you haven't put the right foundation structures in place. What if you get all this really great new business, but now you're feeling overwhelmed and it's bringing up old triggers that you thought were resolved but wasn't resolved? There's a reason why progress and being a part of your journey is so important, and not rushing it and not trying to be perfect. It's like, let what needs to happen. I'll tell you, when I was building Behind Her Brand, I had so many people think that, okay, this is an older issue, but this all just kind of came together just wonderfully. Like they said, oh, it's beautiful and it's great and it's wonderful. And I'm glad people love it. I am. I'm glad they do. But I had to go through a progress even in building that, cultivating that. I had to go through different challenges. I had to go through different hard moments, high moments, all the different things. But I never strive for perfection because that's a goal that I never want to try to attain. And I know that probably sounds crazy, but I don't want to be perfect. I don't want to be perfect. I want to be great at what I do. I want to keep growing. I want to be in a space of constantly learning, which is why I think it's so important that we always remain students. Always be open to learning. Always be open to sharpening the different skills that we have. Because if we're not open to it, then we are going to be stuck. So I would love to pause here for a second and just ask you, no matter what it is you're building, whether, like I said, it's personal things, professional things, internal things, whatever it might be, how do you stay on the path of being progressive, growing, and not allowing life to throw you off? And maybe you might say, well, Kim, now life has thrown me off a few times. No problem. How did you get back on the journey? What did you do to course correct whenever you felt like life was just like, man, I feel like I'm making progress and now this got thrown in the way, or life happened, or something happened to my spouse, my kids, or whatever it might be that disrupted your progress, disrupted your flow, disrupted you making each step that you were making. What did you do to get back on track? I'll tell you a couple of things that I've done. And again, I would love to hear your feedback. You know, I love the good discussions on the comments. Whenever I have felt like I have gotten thrown off because life may have just happened, I always take a minute, a pause. And I always kind of look at, okay, this is the journey I was on. This is the progress I was making. I got thrown off. Now, because I got thrown off, where do I need to restructure so I can get back into a place where I can be back on my path? And sometimes it may not be the initial things that you were doing initially. Sometimes you have to make some different tweaks and be open to the tweaks, be open to the flexibility of your journey. But whatever you need to do, like for me, I take a moment to pause and just kind of reassess, and then I replan and I put something back in place so that I can continue on my journey. Oftentimes, whenever life interrupts you, some things are avoidable, some things are not. But the things that you know are avoidable, put safeguards around your journey. And you can do this by, if you know that your kids get up at a certain time every morning, and just when you're like, oh man, I was getting to a groove, wake up an extra 30 minutes early. If you find that, okay, I'm getting into the habit of being busy, 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 but I'm not being productive. I'm not making my financial goals. I'm not really moving things along. I'm just filling up my schedule with busyness. Pause and ask yourself, okay, what can I do to make sure that what I'm filling my schedule up with is, yes, it's full, but it's pushing me forward to my goals. I'm reaching certain milestones that I wanted to reach. I'm not just filling up my time and space, which honestly can also be something that could be a distraction. Look at where you are and make sure that you're reassessing so that you can make sure that as you're progressing, you're reaching the intended goals that you have in place. You're not trying to go for perfection, right? You're trying to go for just progress and making sure that you are reaching the different goals that you have. So I would love to hear from you all, like, what have you done to make sure that you have safeguarded yourself so that you can keep progressing? What have you done whenever times have kind of thrown you off and you're like, man, I was doing so well, but this happened. What did you do to get back on track? Because hearing stories like that, hearing what other women have done, hearing how other people have chosen to keep on the path that you're on and to not allow life to take you off of it completely can be an encouragement to someone that may be in that situation right now where they feel like things were going so good and I got served a divorce notice, or my kids started acting up again, or man, both our cars went out at the same time and the air conditioner. So now we got to pay all this money. So I can't invest in this launch that I was planning on doing. Like, things happen. They always, life will keep life in, right? But what do you do to make sure that it doesn't stop you? What do you do to make sure it doesn't stop progression? What do you do to make sure that you don't permanently stop what you were building and doing? What do you do in those moments? And I want to encourage you, if you feel like life is just lifing you right now and you just kind of feel like, man, I was doing so well, always take a moment of pause. I don't believe in just rushing you immediately back into what you were doing. Take a moment, a pause. And even in doing that, that could be a few hours, that could be a day or two. Just take a moment to breathe and just say, okay, what's one thing I can do today? Just keep moving forward. What is that one thing? And then once you start doing that one thing, add that second thing, add that third thing, and then you're going to start finding you're back on track. You're moving, you're growing, you're progressing, you're making forward progressive movements towards your intended goals. It's important to do that. It's so important. And I'll end on this note. If you find that, hey, Kim, I've done that, it's just not working. I feel like life just keeps lifing. I'm going to tell you, here's my other blog that I sent out. She persisted. Keep persisting. Even if it feels like things keep happening, keep persisting. Keep pushing. Find people that can encourage you along the way, but don't stop moving. Don't stop growing. Don't stop putting things in place to better your life. Don't stop pursuing your goals. Don't stop. She persisted. This is one of my favorite things I sent out, again, to a few women. She persisted. No matter what happens, keep persisting. You'll find that the more that you persist through, you're going to find that strength is renewed. You're going to find that you're going to see things differently. So you're going to pursue things differently. You're going to find that as you keep persisting, no matter what life happens to you, you start becoming stronger. You start becoming wiser. You start building differently. And then you find that when life starts happening, you're not as reactive as you used to be. You'll find that you've embedded some proactive ways to keep moving forward. So I'm going to end on that, but I would love to hear from each of you, things that you've done, things that you have put in place, ways that you have maintained your own progressive steps, no matter what happens to you throughout the day, throughout life, or what have you. So thank you guys again for joining me for another Monday Morning Brew. As always, I'm going to encourage you to share it, post it, invite other women to be a part of our Monday morning get-togethers. And I can't wait to hear your comments on today's Monday Morning Brew. Progress, not perfection.